episode 313. As always, I'm your host, Justin Baker, and I'm kind of like choking on something right now. I didn't eat anything. And I'm joined by resident old bastard Chris Satter.
Are you going to be okay there?
I'm okay. It's like I swallowed air and it didn't go down right. It was
weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah. Great start.
Our first show since like our big break.
Yeah, we've been gone for 3 weeks instantly. And now you can't. You're literally choking this time.
Welcome to the show. We have some housekeeping. It is that Guy is back.
Yes.
Well, he didn't go anywhere.
He's been here the whole time.
Guy is still here.
I've been here the whole time too. I didn't go anywhere.
Seth is also here, but he's also going to be here on the show at the end of the episode. So stay tuned after the ending theme for that. Also, we are back on our regular recording schedule. My vacation is long since over.
Yeah. However, because we took a break, we probably have more news than normal this week. So,
I did. Thank you. This episode is kind of going to be
a catch up.
Partially our topic, but also partially sort of news catch up because we didn't record for 3 weeks.
Right.
And there's stuff we want to loudly complain about being different than it was in the past.
How dare they?
It's kind of our MO.
That's what we do. It's our secret talent. It's not really
changed
even a secret.
Sonic and I don't like it. That's our show in a nutshell. That's the whole.
Pretty much it. Remember when shit was good?
Oh, God. Please don't. I don't ever want to turn into that retro shows. You remember when Steph wasn't the worst? I mean, yes. But then also, there's still good things now.
Absolutely.
Like food. Food is fantastic.
Food is great. I love food.
Air.
Food. No, you can't handle air. Let's calm down there.
Slightly lower quality now, but it's still good.
Well, when you're not choking on it.
Yeah, I must have breathed some of the bad future air that we have in the future. My week, I've been playing Monster Hunter Rise. I played it my whole vacation.
Also took a vacation.
I took a vacation too. I went to Florida, but I've been playing Monster Hunter Rise. It's one of those games that like it's better than it has any right to be. Mm-hmm. And it kind of like it makes you mad. You're like, stop being so damn good, game, you bastard.
Never had that reaction to a game ever.
I equate it to, when you like see like a real cute puppy and you just want to like smush its face because it's just so cute. It's that kind of same weird wires crossing. Right. You sound so scared right now.
A little bit, yeah. I never want to crush them. I might want to cuddle them.
I didn't say crush. I'm not going to crush a puppy. I'm not Dr. Doom. I'm not out there like smashing puppies in a vice. I just mean, you just want to grab the little face and just smush it around because it's just so cute.
I love the thought of Justin in his Dr. Doom outfit just crushing puppies.
Justin, that's not even the kind of crimes Dr. Doom does. Quiet, peasant! Like crush puppies.
More puppies before doom!
Oh, it's like we forgot how to do a show.
Or we remembered how to do a different show.
Monster Hunter Rise is great. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Nice.
Genuinely, my only complaint coming directly from Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is that, one, the title isn't nearly long enough, like Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate was.
Yeah.
But also, Rise is very, very, like, feudal Japan themed aesthetically.
Yeah.
And Monster Hunter has always kind of had its own sort of like visual aesthetic. And this feels, to me at least, this feels like a little bit of a deviation away from that to kind of a more specific, more real world grounded type of setting, which is very cool and it's very well done. But my initial knee-jerk reaction was like, that makes it feel like not Monster Hunter, because it looks different.
Are there still plenty of monsties though?
There's still lots of monsties. You got to eat you up some tendies and go hunt you some monsties. But man, damn it, if it's not just such a fun game. Nice. It cuts literally all of the tedium and little annoyances out of the traditional Monster Hunter formula, completely updates it into the modern era of gaming, and just adds so many quality of life improvements that I was actually Googling some of them because I was worried that it was like not giving me full quest rewards or something. I was like, it's way too easy to get into a quest and complete it. Obviously, this isn't how I'm supposed to do it.
Right. You're cheating somehow.
Not true at all. So it has this wonderful system, because the problem with the Monster Hunter is that when you go to play online, and I do encourage people to play Monster Hunter online because it's very fun online, and it's got a very good community, and communication is very sparse, so you don't have to know that shitheads are shitheads. You play Rise online, and with older ones, you would have to like, all right, I joined a lobby. Okay, someone's going to pick a quest. All right, everyone has readied up for the quest. We're going to wait. We're going to gear up. We're going to eat our food, get our stuff, and then we're all going to leave on the quest together. So it's kind of an ordeal to just to sit down and find a room and get on a quest that you need to be on.
Right.
In Rise, you just go up to the board and you say, hey, yeah, this is a quest I want to do. And they go, all right, well, do you want to join someone in progress? And you go, yeah. And it just teleports you into someone's game in the middle of a hunt, and you go fight the thing, and then it's like, oh, good job, you did the quest, gives you full rewards, and you're done.
Nice.
And because of that, it means that I've played the majority of the game multiplayer online, which I don't think is a statement I've ever said about any game.
Right.
And it's so nice. It's so seamless. It's so good. The combat is so good. It's wonderful. I highly, highly recommend Monster Hunter Rise, especially to people who like kind of wanted to get into Monster Hunter, but they're like, it seems kind of fussy and weird, and I've got to look a bunch of shit up and know a bunch of things that the game doesn't tell me. That's all gone. You can just play it. All the information's in the game. It's seamless. It's fast. It's easy. It's really good.
Nice.
I also finally quit Yakuza Like a Dragon. I've officially uninstalled it and thrown in the towel. I reached a boss that I could not beat. And so I went, and they have a battle tower in the game, which it's not spoiling much. Most RPGs have some sort of arena or something.
Right.
And I went and I fought through the entire battle tower. Not only fought through it, but with relative ease. I don't think I game overed a single time in the battle tower. Actually, maybe once. I think it's 30 levels. And I gained a ton of levels, got a ton of really good gear in there, went back and fought the boss, and I not only couldn't beat them, I couldn't even get past the halfway point.
Couldn't get to the end range.
It was like extremely bad. And I was like, so this means I'm going to need to go grind. I just did the whole battle tower, which took a while.
Right.
And I'm going to need to go do even more grinding, either going back to the battle tower, which I could, it would give me a lot of XP, but I've already done it.
Right.
And just running the same thing over and over is kind of boring.
Yeah.
Or I could go to the dungeon, because they've got a dungeon that you can just run through infinitely.
Yeah.
But the dungeons are kind of the worst part of the game. And so it turned into a situation where I was like, to progress, I need to do things that I don't want to do, that aren't particularly fun, and I need to do them a lot for a while.
That's a shame.
And I decided it just... I mean, I clocked 35 hours on it, 40 hours on it, and I decided it just was not worth my time. Or more accurately, it wasn't worth the displeasure of doing it, you know.
That's a shame.
So I'm close to the end.
Right.
I've got 3 chapters of the game left. I'm like right there. And it wouldn't be so frustrating if the rest of the game so far has been relatively a cakewalk.
Yeah.
There's no way to change my difficulty, and it is specifically this boss. And you look it up online, and everybody's like, oh yeah, dramatic difficulty increase on this boss randomly and with no real warning or reason. Also annoying, whenever I go to attempt the boss, I have to go through like a 15-minute segment that I don't want to spoil anything about, obviously. But I have to go through a 15-minute segment.
Like a
so it's
cinematic.
like, all right, I think it's a whole gameplay segment and cinematics.
All right.
So it's this thing where I'm like, all right, I'm going to go try the boss again. Let me get through this 15-minute thing, and then do the thing, and then gear up, and then go in there, and then do the boss.
And there's not a save point right before him.
Well, you can save in there, but once you're in there, you can't go back out.
Oh.
At least not that I could find. So it's like every time I even go to attempt the boss, it's 15 minutes of this same rigmarole that I've seen 100 times, skipping cutscenes, yada, 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 to get to it. And then the boss just hammers you over and over and over, and you're like, okay, fuck it.
That's rough.
I looked up I was like, maybe I just don't know. Maybe they got some secret weakness, you know?
Right.
No. Everyone online is like, it's just extremely hard. So, sucks.
I'm worried about that now.
It's a very tough. If you would like, I can give you a level range that you need to be in and a chapter you need to be in that range by if it'll help you on your journey. Because I know you're playing Yakuza 7.
I am now. What level are you at your point?
I am just under 50. I think I'm like 48, 49. Right there in that range.
I just hit level 18. I'm in chapter 4 at the moment. So I'm still real early.
So I'm in chapter 12. I would recommend. Now, here's the tricky part, because I've learned in Yakuza 7, the enemy levels effectively mean nothing. You'll run into a level 30 enemy that you kill in one hit, and then a level 30 enemy that you fight for 15 solid consecutive minutes.
Yeah, I've started to notice some of that. So, I've started Like a Dragon now. I did finish Yakuza 6. I'm on Like a Dragon now. Real quick on Yakuza 6, though. Holy shit, that ending. That was a fucking emotional roller coaster. I was fucking emotionally pitted and devastated at the end of it. I was not prepared for it at all. It's a much shorter game than the ones that immediately preceded it, too. I think I was a little over 30 hours in when I finished Yakuza 6. But it's very good. I highly recommend that one. And you would probably enjoy it much more because it's the Dragon Engine style that Kiwami 2 used.
Would I miss a ton skipping from Kiwami 2 to 6?
Nothing that they don't catch you up on, I don't think. I mean, you would probably wonder who some of the characters are and how they got to where they were, but it'll explain in brief at least.
I've kind of been thinking about going to 6 and then just playing games backward until they get too dated to be playable to me.
Right.
Is kind of what I was thinking.
That's fair. But no,
for 7, I would say by the time you hit chapter 12, if you're at least like, and this is just me kind of guessing, I would ballpark maybe level 60.
Yeah, I'm grinding right now in 7 because I'm trying to be able to afford the best equipment that I have found so far, and it is very expensive, and I don't get a whole lot of money per battle. So I've just been grinding, and I found that there are areas that I can grind that are very easy, and a couple other areas that I can go to right now that are quite a bit of a challenge to the point where I pretty much drain my MP in a random battle. But they both give out about the same amount of money. So I'm just going to stick around in this easy area and just grind a lot.
Once you get to the business management minigame, you won't even care about money for basically the rest of the game. Also, it does unlock 2 different designated grinding areas.
Nice.
So I wouldn't worry too much about doing it until it's easy and convenient.
Yeah.
But then, put in a few hours of grinding.
I'm still pretty early in the game. It is weird, both because it's suddenly a JRPG now, and also because the characters that I know are not present, and the plot elements early on seem to either contradict the end of Yakuza 6 or make some of the ending of Yakuza 6 effectively meaningless.
Wonderful.
And so I'm curious how they're going to reconcile that, because I assume eventually the story is going to be like, oh, well, actually this happened and just nobody knew about it.
Actually, Yakuza 6 took place inside of a VR machine that Kiryu was wearing while punching bad guys.
Well, there was a VR machine that Kiryu got in Yakuza 3, 4, and 5. It's a mini game.
Of course there was.
Yeah. But no, I'm still trying to figure out how one leads to the other. And naturally, 90% of the characters that I have spoken to are completely unrelated to the events of the previous games, so they don't know, and they're not going to tell me about it. And of course, the main character of this one is also unrelated, so he doesn't even know to ask. But yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around that part.
But so far, because you played all of the Yakuza games.
Yeah, I am caught up. No, I haven't played the zombie spinoff.
Right,
or
but you played all of the mainline Yakuza games.
Correct, yeah.
And I played 2 of the mainline Yakuza games, and even Yakuza 7 felt like a weird to me, and I missed parts of regular Yakuza. I still enjoy 7 for what it was. I think it's still a fun game. I do still miss wailing on guys with a bicycle.
Right, yeah. Which you can kind of do in 7, but only by chance.
Yeah. I did find that particular gameplay change kind of a game that was so built around picking up random objects and wailing on people with it, being like, yeah, that's not really a thing.
Yeah, it is strange. And I've tried to look up some stuff online, and there is in fact a contingent of Yakuza fans who just absolutely will not acknowledge Like a Dragon as part of the series. And I get where they're coming from. It's a drastic gameplay change, and if you came for the gameplay, it is drastically different. And they did try to say, well, Judgment is going to be the game that's going to keep that gameplay style. So if that's what you like, just play that instead. But
what confuses me about that is that Judgment, and I've not played Judgment, but it always seemed like the slower, more methodical game that would theoretically be a better fit for an RPG system than the game that was kind of more wacky and faster paced.
I haven't played it yet, so I can't speak to that. But the trailer for the second Judgment game that they showed at the PlayStation event this week showed him doing a skateboarding mini game. So it might just be the same.
Okay. Well, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're continuing it. My problem was that I didn't play Judgment because going by all reviews, it seemed... a lot of it was like you do a lot of investigating and it's slower paced, and I was like, oh, well, I don't, I like Yakuza because, the story might progress slowly, but while it's progressing slowly, I'm dressed like a clown, shaking pepper shakers into the face of my enemies down the middle of the street.
Some of the heat actions in that series just get fucking ludicrous. And as I went backwards in the series as far as actual release date and started playing 3, 4, and 5, some of the heat actions were just really fucking brutal and dark. And as it got closer to the present, they got more and more silly, and I appreciated that.
I have, when I uninstalled Yakuza 7, I installed Yakuza 0.
Nice.
So I'm hoping that kind of brings me back into the fold a little bit. Again, I still recommend Yakuza 7. If you're a JRPG fan and a Yakuza fan, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
I had a fun time with it.
I keep seeing reviews saying it's the best JRPG of the last couple of years as well. And I've seen...
That is a bald-faced lie by people who don't play JRPGs. Period.
No, I've been seeing that on JRPG forums where people who exclusively play JRPGs are saying, oh, this is one of the best ones of the last several years.
That's absolute bullshit. Mostly because Dragon Quest XI came out in the last few years.
Dragon Quest XI is almost 4 years old now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was a 2007 or
Trying
2017
JRPGs
release.
that have come out in recent times.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So you had, I think there was a Tales game in that time. There's certainly been a couple of Trails games in that time. And it seems to be that everybody is saying, well, basically just Cold Steel and Yakuza 7. That's your best JRPGs of the last couple of years.
Yeah, if that was what I had to pick from, I'd probably pick Yakuza as well.
Yeah.
Although Monster Hunter Stories 2 came out, and it's pretty JRPG-y, and it's getting really good reviews.
Like it.
Maybe that'll be the next thing. Let's do some news.
Yes, there's a lot.
We have a lot of it. Really, this is just kind of more news than we normally cover in an episode, but we're playing catch up, and we have kind of a light topic this week.
Right.
So hopefully it all
pans
out time-wise.
Right.
But if it does not, then
oops,
pretend it did.
Right.
And then we're fine. Vitor Vilela released a widescreen hack of Super Mario World for use with BSNES.
And it looks neat.
Just want to see a lot more Super Mario World when you play.
It does look neat. I like these new widescreen hacks of Super NES games, and it actually makes the game harder in some areas. Like what's the name of that level? I think it's I don't remember, the one under the bridge in World 4 where it's got all the torpedoes shooting at you. Because the screen is wider, more of them can fit on the screen at once, and the launchers come into view earlier, so there are constantly more torpedoes launching at you. Whereas other stages like the auto scrollers are much easier because everything comes onto screen earlier, so you can see it and react earlier. So there's some give and take.
Capcom seeking licensing partners for Mega Man's 35th anniversary next year.
Probably going to see some merch out of that, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm imagining it's probably mostly merch.
Get some Mega Man boxers.
Konami teased new Silent Hill merch amid internet rumors of a new Silent Hill game.
They sure did.
But instead delivered some disappointment with a new Silent Hill skateboard.
Yep. I have to wonder what the Venn diagram of Silent Hill fans and skateboarders looks like, because I imagine it looks like just two separate circles.
Are you going to buy it?
No.
You're not going to buy that skateboard?
I am not. I have never bought a skateboard before. This was not enough to change my opinion.
This is one of those moments where, like, I know that Konami is just dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I know that that's what's happening.
Correct.
But it feels like they're being malicious.
Yes, it does definitely feel malicious.
Ubisoft,
Speaking of malicious,
disabled the Might and Magic 10 DRM server, meaning that you couldn't play the game because you couldn't validate your DRM if you owned the game legally.
Yeah.
And then they subsequently just removed the game entirely from Steam 3 weeks later. So 3 weeks of you can't play your game, and then now, oops, it's gone. Bye-bye.
Well, 3 weeks of you can't play it, followed by, well, I guess you can't buy it anymore either.
Now you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So fuck you, Ubisoft, for that and everything, really, if we're being honest.
Right. And several people said that they are submitting refund requests for the game since it is no longer playable at all. But I have not yet seen anybody get a response from Steam as to whether or not they will get anything back from this game that is literally functionally useless now.
Yeah. Sony and CD Projekt Red have announced the return of Cyberpunk 2077 to the PSN store, but recommend against purchasing it for play on a standard or slim PS4. So here's this game. Please don't buy it.
Well, unless you have a PS4 Pro or a PS5, then it's okay.
But can they not restrict sale on the Sony marketplace?
It does not check your hardware. It just lets you buy whatever.
Seems like it'd be really easy for Sony to put that kind of check in.
You would think, but
store.
But Sony has not yet discovered how to do that. They don't know how to make it.
When you go online, it tells you what device you're accessing PSN from.
No.
Then again, I don't know that that's true because some of the hacks for some Sony devices literally just access the direct PSN and download shit off
This is true.
So obviously, Sony has no fucking idea what they're doing.
Do not.
Bandai Namco revealed that Tekken Cross Street Fighter was about 30% done before the project died, but isn't officially canceled.
Yeah, so they had the big news story that it was about 30% done, and everybody was like, when the project died. And then a few days later, the director of it came out on Twitter and was like, oh, that might have been a bad translation. I wasn't trying to say that it's dead. So I think he's trying to just say that maybe it'll still come to light someday in the future, but no direct announcement.
And then obviously this would kind of be the follow-up to Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Right. Well, they were both announced at the same time.
I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Because I remember Street Fighter Cross Tekken came out and people fucking hated it. It got eviscerated, and I don't know why I played it. I thought it was really fun. I had a really good time. It had a gem system where you could equip gems to your fighter to change or alter or improve their abilities. And I remember people fucking hating that because what I learned in that time is that hardcore fighting game fans hate anything that changes how a fighter works.
That's true.
So if you have gems equipped, your fighter now is functionally different than another player may expect from you.
Yeah, it changes the balance.
And for me, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. For casual play, it's great.
Yeah, but for hardcores, they did not like that at all.
I didn't. I barely tried the game. It's just, I've never been a Tekken fan, so I was not interested from the get-go.
I think that was the first game with Tekken in the title that I ever played, honestly. Might have been the first one. And I know guys probably yelling at me right now. But yeah, I think it was the first one. Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX animated series announced.
Only 21 years later.
I don't know how they're going to make Zidane not seem extremely creepy.
It's Japan. They won't. They'll just leave
because he is. In the game, he's fucking creepy.
I assume that hopefully the localizers will see that and try to tone it down.
What a weird...
If it gets localized.
What a weird fucking property. I mean, I get it. It's Final Fantasy. It's a big one, but...
Yeah, it is weird.
Very strange. Dead Space Revival may be in development.
Yeah, they. I don't remember what the name of the studio was, but there was a leak that they may be working on a new Dead Space. I've owned Dead Space and apparently Dead Space 2 for several years, and I have never put more than about 20 minutes into either of them.
I played neither. They looked fun. I was nervous because they were just kind of on that horror side of things, and that made me nervous.
Yeah, that's not your style.
Forever Entertainment, the developers of the Panzer Dragoon remake, have been given a significant financial investment by Nintendo for an upcoming release. Don't know what it is.
No.
Hopefully something good.
Right?
Which would be fun. Square Enix's Marvel's Avengers. God,
I left Disney out of there. I thought about putting Square Enix as Disney's
Square
Marvel's
Enix's
Avengers.
Marvel's Avengers showed players external IP addresses after an update patch. Fucking idiots.
Yeah, and it lasted almost a full day before they fixed it.
Good God.
Yeah.
Bobby Kotick awarded $155 million bonus after a vote of the Activision Blizzard Board of Executives.
Good job, board. That's he needed that.
I do love that so much of the gaming press spun it as after heated debate and close.
It was
voting.
several of the board members were strongly against it and were trying to say that.
Which is like fine, but like they still fucking gave
They
it to
did
them.
still
Quit
give it
trying
to
to
them.
spin this
Yes.
shit like. Sega and Microsoft celebrating Sonic's 30th with a Minecraft crossover, which I almost bought it because it looks really neat.
It does look kinda
I was
neat.
playing Minecraft and I was like, I kind of want it. Space Jam: A New Legacy is getting a Game Pass exclusive game adaptation and custom Xbox controllers.
We
are behind on news.
Yeah, they are ugly. They are ugly looking.
One of them looks kind of cool. It's kind of Tron-esque, but it's got a big Warner Brothers logo in the
That's
fucking
true.
middle of it.
It does.
Which is kind of stupid. But the game looks like a pretty fun beat 'em up, and I think it's like free on everything. I'll probably
it's on
download
Game
it and
Pass.
play it for. Yeah, well, I thought it was free to play anyway, wasn't it?
Well, it's exclusive to Game Pass.
Okay, well then.
You said that a couple seconds ago.
Oh yeah, right. The thing I read.
Yes.
Look, I don't remember what I read. Just. I don't know. It looks fun. I might try it.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit about the new Space Jam.
Right.
But I like a fun brawler game, and I like Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
So I hear it's also got some sports ball people in it. So
Yeah, I heard that
maybe our producer guy would like.
I
that.
heard the plot of the new movie is not about sports ball and instead about somebody whose dream is to become a video game designer or something.
Excuse me.
I was just briefly reading something about it, and I was like, "That doesn't sound right at all. I don't know what any of this is."
That would be like, oh, yeah, we're doing a new Predator movie, but this time around, he's an aspiring novelist that's trying to save his apartment building from getting bought by a larger company and pushing everyone out.
I think it's
what?
I think it's more like, hey, we're making another Predator movie, but instead of in the jungle and Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's in a city and Danny Glover.
Oh, you mean like Predator 2?
Yeah, like that one.
Steam now only allowing users to change region every 3 months to prevent people from shopping around for the lowest regional prices. Thanks for the anti-consumer move, Steam, you fucks.
Honestly, it makes me feel stupid because I never once for a second thought that was even an option.
I thought about doing it, but then it's kind of a pain in the ass to do.
Yeah.
So you gotta like open your settings and click the thing.
I ain't gonna do
I don't
that.
wanna do it.
That's a lot of effort.
Sega may make Sonic a VTuber,
I had to learn what that is.
which is which is exciting for me because I like the idea of VTubers, but it's all like sexy anime girls, and
that's
I don't
awkward.
care. But I'd watch someone pretending to be Sonic. That'd be fucking funny.
Especially
I
if
think
they
that'd
can
be
get Jaleel White to do the voice.
like, I would
I'd
watch
be
that
there.
easy.
Right?
Pokemon Sword and Shield leakers have been ordered by a court, some court somewhere, to pay the Pokemon Company $150,000 each.
Yeah, I think there
for
were
leaking
two of those guys that leaked.
Pokemon Sword and Shield details.
Yeah, that's a
Holy
lot
cow.
of money.
That's bad.
Yeah.
EGS leaked the Western release of a new Trails game a day before the announcement at Falcom's 40th. 4 new games to be released in the West between late 2022 and 2023 on PC, Switch, and PS4. That's a lot of Trails games.
Yeah, I'm so stoked. 2 of them
Oh
I've
my
already
God.
played because they're just they're enhanced remakes of older games that never came
Older
out over
ones,
here.
yeah.
And I've already played through the fan translations. But the other 2 will be new to the West. I'm super stoked. One of them is an action RPG that plays a lot like the Ys series. And the other 3 are all just hardcore JRPGs with just a shit ton of dialogue to them. So
I just wish they'd make one that wasn't so dialogue heavy. Like, I don't want to read a book. I mostly want to play a game, and then sometimes I want to read stuff.
well, you could skip the dialogue. I mean, you won't know what's going on, but there's still a cool battle
but then,
system there.
Why wouldn't I just play something else if I was, you know what I mean? Like,
It's fair.
Like, if I'm going to skip over half of the game, then I might as well.
The whole series is built around this idea of this giant shared universe. So it makes sense that there is so much dialogue because they're establishing all of this. But it is definitely not a game for you.
Yeah.
But it is weird that of anyone, Epic Game Store was who leaked it the day early. That's just weird.
Auto HDR and direct storage will be built into Windows 11 to facilitate Game Pass. I don't know what those are. I assume Auto HDR is an HDR technology.
Correct. Yeah, it's what applies HDR to things that didn't already have it. You'll probably see that on a lot of Xbox One games if you play them on the Series X. You'll see a little auto HDR pop up in the corner because it's applying HDR. And it's not perfect, but it does make some things look a lot better than they originally did.
Right.
Direct storage is the API that it uses for the new storage media on the Series X to make load times faster. And,
okay, cool.
And they'll use that same API with most SSDs on Windows 11 in order to have similar fast load times. It's basically just making Windows 11 closer to a Series X as far as performance goes.
Yeah. Square Enix says the Saga re-releases have exceeded their sales expectations.
I have never heard them say that about anything ever.
I've never heard them say that either. I can't imagine how low their expectations were.
We expected to sell 12.
It sure doesn't seem like there's been a lot of fanfare for these re-releases.
No, there hasn't. And I dragged my feet on getting any of them, and I didn't get Romancing Saga 3 until it was on sale for dirt cheap. Because it's kind of a half-assed remaster. I mean, it was a solid game to begin with, so that helps. But they put as little effort as possible into the remaster, and I haven't started Saga Frontier yet. I just got my physical copy recently, but it looks like it's also mostly just the PS1 game with very little changes. So I am shocked by this too.
xCloud has been updated to use Series X consoles at their base. PC, iOS, browser functionality now available to all subscribers outside of the beta.
That's nice.
So that's exciting. I have a new phone. I bought a new phone, and I'm hoping it can do xCloud better.
No,
but
the phone wasn't the problem.
Inconsistent. Yeah. Well, I was hoping. Well, I mean, my phone kind of was the problem because it's an old phone, but still. I don't know. I'm just hoping I can get a good xCloud experience somewhere, sometime.
Good luck.
Cotton Rock and Roll announced for the PS4, Switch, PC, and arcade.
Which I believe is the third Cotton release.
Yeah, well, they've got the Cotton Reboot.
Right.
Then they've got the Cotton Collection, which is 3 different games. 2 of them are Cotton games. The third one's not a Cotton game.
Oddly.
And then Cotton Rock and Roll is the new game, I believe.
And that's exciting to me. I'm all for revive old cute 'em up franchises. Let's keep doing that.
My only fear is that they're reviving so much of it at once.
Yeah, that is
I'm
true.
worried they're going to be like, nobody bought half these. And I'm like, well, you released fucking 10 of them. Like, give us a second to buy them.
That's fair.
Ubisoft removed fan-made GoldenEye remake maps from Far Cry 5 because they're fucking shitheads.
Well, it's not Ubisoft. Oh yeah, right. No,
I know,
Ubisoft.
Shocking, right?
My bad.
Blown away.
I know.
EA delisted Ultima Underworld 1 and 2, Syndicate Plus, and Syndicate Wars from GOG. Still available on Origin. Thankfully, I already bought all of them on GOG, so good. I have them.
Because otherwise, you would not be able to.
Yeah, did they give I'm guessing the only reason is please buy it on Origin. We want people to use Origin finally.
Pretty much.
And they think Ultima Underworld is what's going to do it.
That's the one.
They think that's what's everyone's going to be like, man. Yeah, I was going to buy Ultima Underworld too, but fuck, I guess
well,
I
also
get it on Origin.
They're killing off Origin to move everybody to EA Desktop, and I don't know if those games are on EA Desktop.
What the fuck?
Yep.
Team Fortress 2 broke all-time concurrent player count in late June
of 2021.
Which, good. It deserves it. It's still a fucking fun game. I still boot up TF2 from time to time to play. I was playing it on my Xbox 360 the other day online. and having a good old time with some TF2. It's a good game.
I think I've played all of about 30 minutes of it ever.
Oh, it's fun. I'm not good at it, so I just do the engineer where all I do is build and maintain a turret, and it does all the fighting for me, and eventually I get killed, and then I show up again, and I build another turret, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't have to actually be good at anything, because the turret is what's good at things.
Nice.
Hackers managed to get user information on all PS3 players, all of them.
Yeah.
And have led to several players getting banned due to illegal activity that they are not involved in.
Thanks, Sony.
Sony so far has done nothing, I think. Is what they've done.
I believe so. They have reinstated a handful of accounts.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and probably apologized on social media, but then didn't do anything.
Oh, I didn't see an apology, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but okay. I guess they'll only do one thing.
Right.
You get to pick.
Yeah.
Reinstate your account or apologize.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
Square Enix announced there is a new Mana game in development for consoles and an anime adaptation of Legend of Mana. What is with Square Enix doing adaptations of their old games?
Right.
Like, we need a cartoon for it. People aren't playing these things. It needs to be cartoon form.
Yeah. Nobody's buying our late PS1 era re-releases. Quick, turn them into cartoons.
Nier, formerly known online as Bew, has tragically passed away. This entire story was just
heartbreaking.
Fucking heartbreaking. Yeah. Oh my god! And if you don't know, they were the maker of some of the best emulators.
Yeah.
Out there.
They contributed to BSNES, of course, was the big one. They made the original version of that practically single-handedly, and then also RetroArch. They contributed to very heavily early on before it was even called RetroArch, to the point where they could be considered one of the parents of the RetroArch project. So it is very tragic, both what happened, how it happened, and what is not tragic is the outpouring of emotional support since, and that's been pleasant.
It just, gosh, what a loss for the community.
Yeah.
What a loss for the planet, and
right.
what a awful. It was just a heart-wrenching story.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go over all of
right.
it because it was bad, but it's out there and it was bad.
Yeah.
Be good to each other.
Seriously,
people, please.
Right?
Just please be nice.
Yeah.
An early alpha of Minecraft version 1.1.1 has been found and preserved. This was considered a rare version of the game, which is bizarre to me that there are rare versions of a game that's basically started its life out digitally.
Right.
But I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, and apparently the version was very quickly replaced with an update that fixed some very minor, small thing. So it's not a significant build by any means, and it won't change anyone's history of the game, but still from the preservation standpoint, it's good to have it.
Yeah. Tales of Symphonia, Devil May Cry, Shantae, and Skyrim to all get Mii costume characters in Smash.
Skyrim.
So finally, you can say Smash Brothers featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. He's finally there.
You saw that Nintendo of Europe made a joke about that on Twitter, right?
No, did they?
Yeah, then they listed all the characters. They were like, you've got Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia, you've got Shantae from Shantae, you've got the Dragonborn from Skyrim, and then there's a little line break and it said, also featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Sony has acquired Returnal developer House Marquee, but Sony Japan inadvertently released a statement that they acquired Demon's Souls remastered developer Bluepoint, which hasn't publicly happened as of now, and Sony later announced an acquisition of Nix's Software, who has ported their games to PC in the past.
I guess it's their turn to go on the buying spree.
Just gobbling everybody up.
Yeah.
Limited print Atari 2600 game Air Raid was donated to a Fort Worth Goodwill, subsequently sold at auction for over $10,000. Only 13 copies of the game are known to exist on the planet Earth.
Yes. And one of them just happened to show up at a Goodwill in Fort Worth.
I can't even. Could you imagine seeing that headline and being like, oh shit, that was that thing I donated? Square Enix is delisting the previous releases of Final Fantasy V and VI on Steam in anticipation of the release of the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters in late July. No announcement yet on the mobile releases.
Correction, I checked, and now there is an announcement for the mobile releases. They're also being delisted. Final Fantasies 1, 2, 5, and 6 are being delisted.
Wonderful.
And if you got the free gift versions of Final Fantasy 1 and 2 from the Final Fantasy Portal app, not only are those going away, but if you delete them, you can't even re-download them. You've lost rights to that.
Thanks, Square Enix. Also, you did make a note here that the font in the new versions is awful. It does look fucking terrible.
It's
like,
just
as much
awful.
effort as they put into making the new sprites look good.
Right.
And then they're like, I don't know, just slap Ariel in there. We don't fucking care.
No. Arial extra narrow.
It looks terrible.
It's just bad.
GTA 6 and the upcoming Assassin's Creed will reportedly be using evolving maps.
Yeah.
GTA 6 may not release until 2025. Ubisoft finished their reorganization, and several people accused of assault are still in positions of power.
Gasp.
So, yes, that's all wonderful news about Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed publisher Ubisoft.
Yeah.
I don't know what an evolving map is either.
It's apparently like a live service version of a game where it keeps changing as you play the game. Yeah.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ubisoft, fuck off. Fix your shit. Please.
They won't.
EA has ignored domain vulnerabilities for months, despite warnings and breaches.
That sounds like EA.
That does just basically sound like EA. Thanks, you giant assholes. God. I like at the beginning of the show, I'm like, I don't want to be that person that just complains. And like, Ubisoft hasn't fucking fixed anything. EA hasn't fucking fixed anything. Sony's fucking leaking everybody's shit everywhere.
Yeah. I gotta say,
that's the news.
I gotta say, Sega never leaked my information when I had a Genesis. I'm just saying. Of course, they didn't have my information either. But,
Well, you weren't on the Sega Net?
I did not have the Sega channel. I did have Sega Net on Saturn.
Anyway, let's get into the topic at hand, because we're already late in the show.
How far?
And we're going to talk about do what?
How far are we in now?
We're at like the 40-minute mark. So we did 10 extra minutes of news.
That's not too bad.
That's horrible.
Okay.
We've been here for 3 hours, Saturday. We're talking Arkanoid this week, which is Breakout, but they added power-ups.
That makes it better.
Yes.
There's also a story.
It actually does.
Yeah, it does.
Release info. This was developed for arcades by Taito. In Japan, came out July 1986. North America, August 1986. Published by Romstar. And in Europe, it came out sometime in 1986. We don't know.
I love the name Romstar. I don't know why. That just sounds like budget comic book hero to me.
It sounds like a bad Star Fox villain.
Right?
It's Romstar. Come to Corneria. As far as first encounters, I had Arkanoid or possibly some Arkanoid clone on my Windows XP machine. I have no idea where it came from, but I played it a freaking ton. I played that, and I played this like robot pinball game that I had. Both of them I played a whole lot of, and I assumed wrongly that it was just its own encapsulated thing. There was no other game like that. That was Breakout with power-ups.
That was the one.
And Arkanoid's kind of one of those games like Breakout where there's a million billion clones of it, which we'll obviously talk about more later. But yeah, I played a ton of it on my Windows XP machine at the turn of the millennium.
Nice.
And then that was it. That was my Arkanoid time.
Yeah, I somehow missed it in arcades. Either the arcades near me didn't have it, or I just walked by it and didn't notice it. And I never rented it on NES because the box is just so generic that I had no idea what it was. And then whenever I would go to Funko Land and they would have the wall of used controllers there, I would always see that one weird NES controller, and I had to know what it was. And a friend of mine bought it when they were clearancing out those Arkanoid controllers for 99 cents. And I was like, well, does it work? And he was like, I don't know. I don't have the game for it. So we finally went out and got the game. And we were like, oh, it's like Breakout, but it's fun. And,
Yeah.
and
How dare you, sir?
I enjoy Breakout as well. I've still got Breakout on my Atari, but
No, I was joking. I can't stand Breakout. It's so boring.
I enjoy Breakout.
So boring.
I enjoy Breakout. I enjoy Warlords. I enjoy all those kinds of games.
No, hold on. Slow down. Warlords is fucking stellar. That is a stellar game. Don't lump Warlords in with Breakout. Not even close.
What about Super Breakout?
No, that's like being like, oh, I like Nuts and Milk and Super Mario Brothers 3. I like those games. It's a good game. Like,
Install NES games. It's all the same.
Just slow down.
No, I do enjoy the brick breaker genre. So Arkanoid was right up my alley.
Tell me about the development for Arkanoid.
Yeah, so as the 80s progressed, like in 1980 when Breakout came out, it was either 79 or 80 when Breakout came out, it was hugely successful, and there was just a ton of clones on the market. And then they died, and nobody wanted Breakout clones anymore, and the popularity just plummeted. And then for some reason in the mid 80s going into the later 80s, there was this resurgence of popularity of Breakout clones. And within Taito, they held a contest to see who could come up with the most interesting concept for a Breakout clone.
I love, and I think we forget about this, that Breakout was a genre.
Right.
And you alluded to it earlier, the brick breaker genre. It was just games in which you broke bricks of various different types and in various different environments, but all you usually did was
move a paddle
break
around.
Bricks. But hey, this time it's upside down, or hey, this time it's to the side, or hey, this time it's green,
or it's multiplayer, or something. So yeah, it was a thing, and so they decided instead of trying to actually use creativity, they held a contest. Which is just milking creativity. It's a different way to get to it, I suppose. And the contest was won by Akira Fujita and Hiroshi Sugino at Taito's Yokohama Research Institute. That's funny. I'm in Yokohama and Yakuza right now.
Maybe you can go find Taito.
No. But no, the two of them then combined their ideas into what would become Arkanoid. Apparently, they had two separate concepts that jointly won. I can't find any information as far as what their two separate concepts were.
Yeah.
But the visual appearance of the game was reportedly inspired by Tron. I saw an interview with Sugino that said that he was a huge fan of Tron at the time and wanted to make a game that looked like Tron. And it was an interview with a Japanese magazine, Beep. And he said that in his attempt to make the game look like Tron, all the bricks were originally one color, and he was strongly opposed to making them multicolored because then it would look less like Tron, and he was overruled by pretty much everyone on the project.
I love that. I don't know, all of that. I love all of that. No, they can't be. No, it's got to look like Tron, just like Tron. Yeah, that's bizarre.
Right. He also referred to the development process as, quote, murderous. He said there were incredibly short deadlines and incredibly long shifts. They did an initial public testing about a month after the beginning of development. Like they were.
Could you imagine a month after development starting on a modern video game? They would just be like, "Here's the legs of one art asset.
Yeah, this is a rough outline of a wireframe, and this is what a menu may look like.
This is a sketch of a gun. Do you like this game?"
Right. And yeah, so they set up initial public testing about a month after they started development of the game, and it did much better than anyone at Taito expected. That convinced upper management to put more money into the project and allow them to do more than what they were originally planning. And then they made Arkanoid.
Let's talk. In as far as graphics and sound, we kind of skip on that a little bit.
I've got a little bit on that here in a little bit, but not much.
There's some in there.
Yeah. It was very colorful for its time. It was built on a modified Taito arcade hardware. Looking at it, apparently every fucking Taito game used the same hardware. To render its graphics, everything from Bubble Bobble and New Zealand Story to Arkanoid and Space Invaders all basically use the same arcade hardware. And the soundtrack was by Hisayoshi Ogura, who would also go on to compose the soundtrack for Darius. So there's some
very weird soundtrack for Darius.
Yes. But no, I do enjoy the soundtrack, especially the closing theme. If you manage to somehow finish the game because you had all the credits in the world, the closing theme is awesome. I love that.
As far as gameplay, it's block breaker gameplay that you know and love from Atari's Breakout.
Right.
You control a paddle at the bottom of the screen. Just like the paddles in Pong, you use a dial controller. The ball bounces up toward rows or patterns of bricks at the top of the screen. Right. The ball bounces off. You got to keep it from missing your paddle and going off the screen, or you lose a life.
Right.
The uniqueness for Arkanoid
at the time,
power-ups.
Right.
Yeah, at the time.
Yeah.
Blocks would occasionally drop a power-up icon when collected by the player's paddle. You would gain the power-up.
Right.
There was Enlarge, which makes your paddle longer. Right. You have Disruption, which splits the ball into 3 balls and more than 3 in some later variants.
Right.
You have Player, which just gives the player a 1-up. You have Catch, which is probably my least favorite. It makes it so that every time the ball hits your paddle, it sticks to it, and you have to press a button to launch it again.
Right, but it remembers the angle at which it hit the paddle, so when you release it, it will continue as if it had bounced off of your paddle. And if you don't remember the angle, you could end up doing really stupid shit when you release it.
My problem with Catch is that it slows down what can already be a laborious game.
That's true.
You have Slow, which slows the ball down, which also slows down a laborious game. Then you have Laser, which just lets you shoot fucking laser beams.
That's the best one.
It's the best power-up in the whole game.
Yeah.
You have Break, which skips the current level and grants 10,000 points. Maybe that's the best one.
Okay, that might be it. No, I'm still going to go with the Laser.
It is kind of weird because the issue with Breakout is that sometimes you'll get stuck in these patterns, or you'll have like 1 or 2 blocks left and you just can't fucking hit them.
Right.
And you're just waiting on physics to,
you're sitting there trying to spin the dial and hope that it remembers the spin of your dial and makes the ball move differently.
Having the power-ups breaks up the movement in It just makes the game go a little quicker than in Breakout.
Absolutely.
It gives you more options for destroying things. Sometimes you'll just get a laser at the end of the level and you can just fire laser beams through those last few bricks.
That's the best.
You still run into situations where you've got 2 blocks left and the only power-up you've gotten is Slow, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be here forever. But it really, I would say it partially solves the problems of Breakout.
Right. It certainly makes it a more exciting game than standard Breakout.
Bricks are worth different points depending on their color. Silver bricks require multiple hits to break, which increases every 8 stages, and gold bricks cannot be broken.
Right.
And Arkanoid really has some patterns that can just fuck off.
Yeah.
With the gold bricks.
I forgot to even mention it in here, but sometimes enemies pop up too.
They do
come in and they'll fuck up the path that you just sent the ball on by getting in the way and knocking it back at you.
I actually like the enemies a lot because sometimes when you get stuck in these patterns where the ball's coming back at one specific angle and you're hitting it, it seems to be going back in the reverse of that exact same angle. You're stuck in these loops. Enemies will pop up and knock the ball off its course just enough that you can kind of break out of those faster.
That's fair.
Which I do enjoy. The ball does speed up when it hits the top wall, so you want to take out the lower bricks first to maintain your speed. When you have multiple balls in play, you only need to catch one of them. Although you can catch as many as you want and bounce them back, it's extremely hard to do. And
they can get out of hand real quick when you have multiple balls, especially when they start speeding up.
After 32 stages, the 33rd stage is a showdown against... The 33rd stage is a showdown against Doe, which is a giant moai head that fires projectiles that destroy the paddle. You have to hit it 16 times with the ball to kill it and finish the game. Yeah. And the game does not allow you to continue if you lose to Doe.
Yeah, you have to start the entire fucking game over if you died during that level.
Oh, fuck off.
Right?
With that.
Like, you can continue up to the stage right before it. And then as soon as that stage starts, continue option is gone. Because fuck you, Taito.
But there is at least an end. There is a story which we'll talk about in just a moment.
Just now.
But there is also an end to the game.
Yes, that is something.
Saturn, tell me the story of Arkanoid.
I will. This is quoted verbatim from the game. I went
And
through.
it is completely in caps.
Yes, this is. Oh, yeah. Well, of course it's in caps. So this is the exact opening dialogue to Arkanoid. The era and time of this story is unknown. After the mothership, quote, Arkanoid, unquote, was destroyed, comma, a spacecraft, quote, Vaus, unquote, scrambled away from it, but only to be trapped in space warped by someone, ...
So you're not even Arkanoid.
No. Arkanoid's the ship that you may be in.
Vaus.
Yes, you're Vaus.
And then tell me, so spoilers for the ending of Arkanoid.
Yeah. Sorry, spoiler
About the ending
alert.
of Arkanoid. Then skip ahead a few seconds because Saturn's going to read the ending of the story, the conclusion to the Arkanoid saga.
So after you finish Do, it then gives you this brilliant dialogue. Dimension controlling Fort Do, quote, Do, unquote, has now been demolished and time started flowing reversely. Quote, Vaus, unquote, managed to escape from the distorted space. But the real voyage of, quote, Arkanoid, unquote, in the galaxy has only started, ...
Even though in the intro we were explicitly told that Arkanoid was destroyed.
Well, time went reversely.
Yeah, but Vaus managed to escape from the distorted space.
But Arkanoid
so
has only started.
Reversely time.
None of it makes sense, Justin. It's like they weren't even paying attention.
It's stories like this that they add to these games, and I'm like, why did you even put it in there? Like, why did you even fucking just be like, you're a fucking paddle of power,
Right.
You know? No, like it'd be one thing if in Breakout, when you boot up Breakout on the Atari, it's like, and the brick planet, the paddle people invade it. Like, then they'd be like, all right, well, Breakout had a story, so we need to have a story. Like, that would at least make sense.
You remember that episode of Captain N about the Tetris world?
Oh my God, yes, I do remember that exact episode. All of it.
That was the worst possible story for any game I've ever encountered, ever. It makes this look fucking like Oscar-winning shit. Now, me and my friends loved the intro to this game. Once we discovered this game and we started playing it, whenever somebody was talking about a bad story in something, one of us would make the joke of, but is the era and time of that story known?
And some of the other games have expanded stories.
Yeah, that's true.
But instead of being one paragraph, it's two paragraphs. Right. And it makes as little sense as this one does. So yeah, as far as reception, Arkanoid was well received commercially and critically. Game Machine listed it as the most popular arcade cabinet of August 1986, and it remained the top grossing arcade cabinet through February of 1987.
That's a good run.
Home ports were generally very well received. In 1997, EGM ranked the NES game as the 41st best console game of all time.
I have a hard time believing that, but it's still a good game.
All time. So what all consoles were out by 1997? So we're talking like N64 era.
Yeah, you had N64, you had PS1, Saturn, obviously anything before that. So you had the Genesis and all of its add-ons and the Super NES.
And the NES version of Arkanoid is the 41st best of all video game consoles.
Anything between 1977 and 1997, 20 years of video games. We had Resident Evil in this time. Final Fantasy VII came out in 97.
Hell, they could have picked a different Arkanoid port in that lineup.
Right.
Surely there is one.
There is several.
So very, very weird EGM in 1997, but it's a good game. It's a good game.
It's still, even the NES port is very good, especially if you can find one of the controllers for it, because it was a neat little controller.
I know we're already to Legacy, but tell me about the Legacy of Arkanoid.
So there was the arcade cabinet did incredibly well. So there was a lot of ports. It was contemporaneously ported to the NES, as we mentioned, the Commodore 64, the Apple II, the Atari ST, the NEC PC-88 and PC-98, the Amiga, the Amstrad CPC, the BBC Micro, the ZX Spectrum, Mac, DOS, MSX, Tandy, Those are the ones I found. It may have been ported to other things around that time.
Yeah.
And then there was a follow-up arcade sequel in 87 called Arkanoid 2 Revenge of Doe.
Now, and to be clear, it's just more Arkanoid.
Yeah, it's just more Arkanoid. It's more of the same. There may be different power-ups. I don't remember.
I think the D splits the ball into more balls.
Maybe.
There's a power-up that puts a barrier at the bottom of the screen.
Yep.
That's the only new power-ups I can think of.
I believe
like
Arkanoid 2 is when they started introducing multiple paths to leave the level.
I believe so, too. I know they had it by the WiiWare port, but I
Right.
don't know what the WiiWare port was based off of.
Yeah.
I think it's also when it adds I don't think the original Arkanoid had the shrink, did it? Where it makes you smaller?
No, I don't think it did.
Yeah, so you got the shrink, you've got the barrier, the multi-ball splits into like at least 5 or 6. I can never count them, but it's more than 3.
On Famicom, it might have still been 3.
Yeah.
Because it was a kind of a cheap port. But that one also ended up on a whole bunch of those same systems. And then there was another sequel / remake that was Arkanoid Do It Again. And that was,
I get it.
Yeah, that was released by Taito on the Super Nintendo in 1997.
Oh my God.
And it was.
I guess EGM didn't like that version very much.
Maybe it hadn't released yet. Maybe it had.
It was still in the review pile.
Yeah, maybe it had just released, so it was fresh in their mind. And Nintendo localized that game for markets outside of Japan in November of 1997.
Holy cow.
So that's post Final Fantasy VII. Nintendo is releasing a sequel to Arkanoid on the Super Nintendo.
Wonderful.
And in addition to using the gamepad, it also supported the Super NES mouse.
Which makes it one of like 3 games?
No, there's like a
4
dozen.
games?
There's like a dozen.
Is there that many?
Give or take, that use the Super NES mouse.
Oh, yeah, because there was a couple of strategy games that used it, weren't there? You had Mario Paint, you had that Wario game.
There was
one
one of the Carmen Sandiego games. Lemmings 2 uses it.
Yeah, I forget about those.
So there's a handful. And then following Taito's acquisition, so actually before that, there was an arcade sequel in 97, Arkanoid Returns, which got a PS1 port, which would be released in Japan later in 97. And then for some reason, they reprinted it again 2 years later in 99 under the name Arkanoid R2000. Same game, just different name now all of a sudden.
Now, I didn't get to play this one, and I didn't see what all it added, if anything.
I have not found an ISO of it, so I can't say I've played this either. It did not release outside of Japan. It is a Japan exclusive, and it was exclusively on PS1 and arcade, so it did not get a lot of attention internationally. And then sometime after that, after Square Enix had already acquired Taito, they did release the DS game, Arkanoid Ds, which has touch controls. It was released in 2007. It has some levels themed after other Taito games like Bubble Bobble and Space Invaders.
I'm kind of okay with touch controls on this. There are a lot of paddle game purists that insist that you need the dial, the knob controller.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see that being a thing. And I feel like touch controls are a good approximation of the type of accuracy you get from one of the knobs.
Right. And the cover for it made it look like it was part of the Touch Generation series. It is not. Just Square Enix ripping off that cover design.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there were the digital-only releases that came out in 2009. Arkanoid Live on Xbox Live Arcade and Arkanoid Plus on WiiWare, which you were mentioning earlier. There was also an iOS port that year of the original game.
I own both of these Arkanoids. Well, not the iOS. I bought the Xbox Live Arcade one. That's the Arkanoid I played mostly for this show.
Nice.
And the WiiWare one, which I've been playing lately.
Yeah, I've got the WiiWare one.
Let me tell you, it's Arkanoid.
Are they the same game or are they just similar games?
They are slightly different.
Okay.
They're not dramatically different, but they're slightly different. The Wii one lets you choose left or right, which path you want to go when you finish the level. The Xbox one does not.
Weird.
The rest of it seems mostly the same, although the Xbox one it's $10 for the base game, and it gives you 2 episodes, but then it's $2.99 each for the 3rd and 4th episodes.
God damn it, Square Enix.
But at the end of the day, in all episodes, you're just playing Arkanoid.
Right.
So I didn't buy those because it's just Arkanoid.
Yeah. And so the grand total is what, $16?
Yeah, for Arkanoid
That would
in 2020.
That would have been 2,000 Microsoft points.
So I really, I feel like I had more fun with the WiiWare version, which you can't buy.
Right.
So please pirate it. I had more fun, and I can't really nail down exactly why. Like I don't know that the Wii or the Xbox Live version, either one of them's better than the other one. But something about the Wii version, I just liked it more. I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was, though.
That's fair. I've played a bit of the WiiWare one, and it's fun, but I didn't enjoy it enough to constantly go back to it. But if I'm just tinkering around for something to play on my Wii, it is one of the ones I'll go to. And then, of course, most recently in 2017, Square Enix released Arkanoid versus Space Invaders as a mobile game. And that was the one that would later be included in the Switch and PS4 Space Invaders Invincible Collection, as well as Space Invaders Forever, which I think you have.
I bought this. I played Arkanoid versus Space Invaders on my Switch, and that game can fuck off. So first of all, I booted up on my TV, and none of my controllers work.
Weird.
And my screen is sideways. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's a touch-only game that you have to hold vertically.
Fuck off.
So I take my Switch and I'm playing it vertically, and I'm like, I'm pissed off.
Yeah,
it's fun. I mean, really, it's Arkanoid, but you're hitting Space Invaders instead of blocks. It's cool. It's interesting, but put it the right direction and give me some fucking controls. And then it's got like characters and dialogue.
Well, now I'm curious how the PS4 version of that plays, because
I assume you have to play it on the fucking touchpad. I don't know,
because it's clear that the Switch version, they completely cheaped out and just straight up ported the mobile version.
Also, I've never seen this before. When you put the Space Invaders Forever cartridge, because I own it physical, when you put the cartridge in your Switch, 2 game icons pop up. Arkanoid versus Space Invaders is totally separate from Space Invaders Forever. And I'd never even seen that. I couldn't get any controls to work. I tried 2 or 3 different controllers. I tried it on my TV. Nothing fucking worked.
The Final Fantasy 7
cool.
8 2-pack also does that, where it makes 2 things populate in your menu.
Yeah. It seems cool, but just buy it on your phone, because it's the fucking same.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I do want to talk about some Arkanoid clones.
There's a lot.
Really, mostly because, there have to be hundreds.
Oh, yeah.
At this point. Hundreds of Arkanoid clones. And I just wanted to talk about some of them, a few of them that I've played recently that I've enjoyed, because we could do a whole episode, on Arkanoid clones. I cannot speak.
It's an Arkanoid episode.
I want to first talk about Wizorb, which is on PC, PS4, Vita, and a bunch of other stuff.
Right.
It is Arkanoid smushed with a full-on RPG.
Nice.
You go into shops, you buy stuff, you level up. It's very fun. Wizorb is great.
That sounds like something I would be down for.
I highly recommend Wizorb.
I wonder if I have it on Steam.
You probably do. It's just so damn cute and fun. It's one of those games that's like always on sale for $1, and I'm like, hey, Wizorb, and I already own it. Very fun game. I also discovered a game doing research for our next episode. So for I'm not going to spoil the topic, but I was just playing every Game Boy Color game alphabetically, and I.
Nice.
Like you do.
Like you do.
When you're bored. And I got to the Ds, and I played Dragon Dance.
Yeah.
Which is Arkanoid, but your paddle is a cute little Eastern-style dragon that moves around, and you get these power-ups, and it turns you into different colored dragons to do different things to the ball. And it also supports limited vertical movement, which is fascinating in one of these Brick Breaker games, where you can go up, not a lot, but up just a little bit. And when you go up, the dragon kind of points his head, so you can kind of like really slam into the ball really hard. And it's really cool. I'd never even heard of the game before. Again, I just found it going alphabetically. And it's really fun. I had a really fun time with it. The only weirdness is that when you're not actively moving your dragon, it starts spinning in a circle and turns into a little tiny ball. Which is kind of disorienting to not always have your paddle
as a paddle,
fully extended. That's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And then I was just looking at lists of Arkanoid clones. And one of them recommended Kirby's Block Ball to me.
Isn't exactly an Arkanoid clone.
It's not. It's a Breakout clone,
Right.
but it was fun, so I want to talk
That's
about
fair.
it. Because what other chance am I going to have to talk about Kirby's Block Ball on the Game Boy?
We might have mentioned it on the Kirby episode like 300 episodes ago.
Maybe. Basically, it's Breakout. I don't know why it was listed with Arkanoid clones, because as far as I can tell, there's no power-ups, which is weird for a Kirby game. Like, I was like, oh, he probably gets power-ups from the enemies like Kirby does in Kirby. No.
Well, the first
No, you
Kirby
just hit
didn't have
enemies and they die.
power-ups.
That's true. That's true. I
And
think
this
by
was around
this time,
then.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But it has cool bonus levels. You get 2 paddles. There's a paddle on the top and a paddle on the bottom. And you can also do that thing where you kind of push up and whenever you hit Kirby and give him some extra oomph.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a Breakout style game with Kirby music, which is that's enough.
And
that should be enough for anyone.
I want to mention one other Arkanoid clone.
Yes.
If you still have a PS1 or access to a PS1, or just Google image search, the Sorcerer's Maze on PlayStation. It is a blatant Arkanoid clone and brings nothing new to the table. It's all the same power-ups you've seen in other Arkanoid games, but it has the dumbest cover I've ever seen on a video game.
You showed it to me,
oh my God.
and it's got a kid wearing headphones with a walkie-talkie behind a wizard.
Right. Yes.
And
there's like an ice crystal. And there's
it's an Arkanoid clone. And I was like, no, it isn't.
And the other kid on the box has elf ears.
What the fuck?
I don't know what the fuck was going on in the cover, but then you play it and it's just generic ass Arkanoid with like a mild fantasy theme.
Phalanx level bullshit cover. It's bad.
And it retailed for $10 when it first came out, and so I had to buy it.
Yeah.
So it's not, I'm not going to pretend that it's great, but it's an okay Arkanoid clone if you can obviously find it for free now, because I can't imagine that I think Take-Two put it out back in the day, and I can't imagine they would still want to put their name on it, so you can't buy it anymore. But at least go look up the cover, because it's dumb as shit.
As far as final thoughts, if you somehow have not played Arkanoid, chances are, if you think you haven't played Arkanoid, throughout us talking about Arkanoid, you've realized, oh, yeah, I played a game called Ballanoid on Windows 98. You've played an Arkanoid clone. There's so many that even if you haven't played Arkanoid, you've played Arkanoid.
Right.
But if for some reason you have not, or maybe just didn't appreciate it, go back and play Arkanoid. It really is kind of... It's like, what if Breakout had shmup elements?
Right.
It's a very fun game.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
And I am going to again pitch Sorcerer's Maze because of how stupid it is. And I just remembered looking at a picture of it that it has a power-up that splits your ball into like 100 balls. And it's so stupid.
See, now I want to play it.
And apparently it was re-released on PSN.
No, really?
So if you have a PS3 or a PS Vita or a PSP, you can still get it and play it today on your current device. That's so good.
Is it is it the 41st best console game?
It might be the 41st best console game ever made.
I like to imagine that like later releases of NES Arkanoid put that on the back of the box, like 41st best console game.
You know,
we made it.
So I'm deep in the Sorcerer's Maze trap. Apparently in Japan,
that's the sequel, Sorcerer's Maze Trap. Right. That's the second.
In Japan and Europe, it was called Prism Land, which honestly makes just as much sense as Sorcerer's Maze.
Basically, but there are no prisms in Arkanoid.
No, but when it was re-released
why not play up the Moai head aspect?
Right?
They would put that in there.
When it was re-released on PSN, Europe got our cover and our name. So now they are stuck in the Sorcerer's Maze too.
Wonderful.
I love it. I love that stupid fucking cover. It's so fucking dumb.
Well, I love our patrons who support the show over at patreon.com/retrowarriors.
I'm really glad you didn't say, speaking of so fucking dumb or something like that. I'm always worried about how your segues are going to go.
Of course not.
And I was really worried.
If you want to support the show, then you can leave us a review on your podcast aggregator of choice, or just come hang out with us in Discord. But if you'd like to give us a couple bucks and get early access to the episodes or our fun spin-off show, Talking Wizards, where we mostly talk about 51st Dates fan theories, then I highly recommend our Patreon to you, dear listener. And we would be eternally grateful for your support. We do want to thank the following patrons who made this specific episode possible, starting with Jammo.
Oh, man, I'm going to mess this up. Mark Schwickendy Hoffmeyer.
Lil Bunny Fufu 89.
Sufferum.
Atari 2600 consultant Marlowe 221.
Rick Jackson.
Vince the ShamWow guy.
The Techno Funk Boy.
Chris Courage.
What is a name? A miserable little pile of letters.
Are all the people we want to thank for making this episode possible, and we want to thank you for listening and remind you to stay tuned after the ending theme, because our producer Guy is going to be on the show to, quote, yell at me about something.
You probably did something wrong.
So I don't know. He gave me a preview of getting yelled at the other night. So stay tuned to hear me get yelled at.
It's going to be exciting.
For something that I did.
You probably did.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time. And as always, let us cling together. Party. We're here with our producer Guy, who is I've been told here to yell at me about things.
You probably deserve it.
Told by who?
You told me.
You did
multiple times.
You did
that. I guess I did.
You tonight and on Wednesday night you said, "Let me give you a preview of what I'm going to yell at you about."
Well, I didn't want you
yelled at me.
I didn't want you to be taken off guard.
Well,
First of all, yes, you do. I think you just really wanted to yell at me on Wednesday too. So you were like, "Shit, I don't have Wednesday and Friday yelling at Justin material, so I'm gonna have to preview it."
No, on Wednesday, I wanted to make sure that you knew that I wasn't seriously yelling at you.
Oh no, I mean, I know that I don't know that because I do the uncut edits of the show. I've never seen your voice go above like negative 15 decibels exactly.
That's a good point.
I'm a consistent man. What can I say?
There you go. At this point, I feel like I could just not edit your audio file every couple of weeks. I'm like, it's perfect. Why?
Well, thank you. No, I have been listening to Talking Wizards again, and this segment is pretty much going to be a please go listen to Talking Wizards segment because that show is hilarious. Wizards. In fact, Justin will tell you that show is hilarious, but that's another story.
It's the only one of our shows that I really listen to like most of the way through because one, it's the longest between when it gets made and when it gets posted. So when I go to post it, I have to listen to a bit of it and make sure there's no editing issues. Mm-hmm. And I end up listening to like half of it and laughing my ass off at my own fucking jokes, like an ass.
That's okay. When we have a particularly good segment, I make Kristen listen to it the next day, so it's fine.
Have you listened to the 51st Dates episode? Because that really was my favorite we've done in so long.
No, I'm in April, so I'm coming up on it.
Oh, all right, that's fine.
Like a month and a half ago, I was in like September, so I'm catching up. Yeah. So I'm listening to Talking Wizards, and you and Andrew were talking about how horrible pop figures are.
Oh yeah, Funko Pops.
Well, I don't know that we said they were horrible.
Doesn't Andrew still collect them?
I want to say, and this is, I want to say quote, but I guess it's paraphrasing. But
yeah,
you said something along the lines of, "I don't understand why anybody would want a cheap plastic thing that falls over all the time with a big head that vaguely looks like the thing you like."
Yeah, I stand by that because here's my thing. As toys, for the price point they're at, as toys, they're dumb toys.
I didn't think they were toys. I thought they were little statues.
They are the little statues.
I'm sorry. A tiny little plastic man that looks like a thing you like is a toy. It's a toy. These are toys.
I thought they were little figurines or statues.
Yeah, I have multiple of them displayed throughout my house, sir.
Yeah.
I have one that was given to me.
I have none.
I've got like a Captain America one. I've got Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, Alexa Bliss from WWE.
I have 3 that came from you, Guy.
Well, see, I like them, and I like giving them.
They were you bought for Christmas when you bought me the Batman animated series, and it came with 3 little tiny mini pop figures of Batman characters, and I think they're buried in my daughter's toys somewhere at this point.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But you guys rounded the conversation off by talking about how you could go get custom ones made in like California or something.
Oh,
yeah.
Andrew was talking about that, and you said, "Why would anybody ever want a custom figure of themselves?" And I just needed to tell you in a public forum here that I have a pop figure of myself that was given to me for my birthday.
Nice.
And it's one of my favorite things.
And that's what a sweet gift to get for someone. What a nice, kind thing for you to own.
You're the worst friend, dude.
I'm still allowed to think it's dumb.
Yeah,
I'm not into them myself, but I don't think they're dumb. My mom loves them. She's got a growing collection of them. She started with Marvel characters, and then she discovered there were Addams Family Funko Pops, so she got all of those, and now she started getting like Universal Monsters ones.
For me, it was just like they're like, how much are they? Like $15, $16? How much is a pop figure? Like a regular one you get at Target, like not one of the rare ones or the collectible ones or the giant ones or whatever. Like if you just go like buy like a Batman pop figure at Walmart, how much is that? How much do those cost?
I have no idea.
Me either.
Well, I thought you own a bunch.
Yeah,
of them.
I do, but like I got a lot of them through Loot Crate.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, $15.
I feel like you're defending a collection of things that was sent to you randomly by a company filling a box full of shit.
Well, yeah, that's what Loot Crate is. They send you shit, and in that is the Funko Pops, and they're great. And a T-shirt.
See, I feel like part of the disconnect here is that that Justin is seeing them as equivalent to the other toys that he gets as things that should be played with, whereas they don't seem to be marketed as such. They seem to be marketed very much as a thing you put on a shelf as a background tchotchke.
I suppose. I don't know.
And as that, they're fine. I mean, I'm not into them, but I can understand how somebody would be into them in that regard.
Now, I'll say this. If you like Funko Pop figures, totally fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking to a man who is actively collecting He-Man toys.
That is true.
So I have no room to discuss anyone else's lifestyle or likes.
That is true.
Trust me.
You've got like hundreds of little rubber dudes on display.
You do have a bunch of muscle.
You started to say hundreds, and then I started to immediately deny that I have hundreds of anything, and then you said little rubber dudes, and I was like, oh, yeah. I definitely have at least 200, thus making that statement true.
Yeah.
I saw the picture.
Well, they come in packs in like 12. I mean, fuck. You know?
Dude, I spend time going through that picture and just like trying to identify them. It's great.
Nice.
They're all currently in large glass jars layered by color, so it looks like a candy store.
Nice.
So yeah, no, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm trying to yuck their yum. You know, if you enjoy Funko Pop figures, you enjoy it. You do you go for it. I'm sure that a lot of my distaste for them is one. I just personally don't like them. I think that they change the look of whatever they're supposed to be just enough that it doesn't feel like I'm getting a thing that looks like the thing that I like.
But you also don't like the chibi SD art style either. That's
no, not generally.
You've come out against that in previous things.
Yeah, that is a large part of the appeal of them. If you're not into that style at all, that would suck.
Right, yeah, that would not be.
It's the eyes. I don't like that they make the eyes little dots. For a lot of characters, their eyes are their most expressive and identifiable portion of their character, or at least one of the larger, more identifiable, expressive portions of a character. And making them all just little colored dots like ruins a lot of... You know, it looks like a Bizarro version of the thing a lot of the time, and I'm like, oh well, like it'd be cool, but it doesn't really look like them when you change the eyes. Obviously, that's not true. Like I said, Batman earlier. Batman would work great as a Funko Pop figure, you know. But then you pick a character with big eyes, and you know, I feel like it would just be weird. You know,
I haven't looked at enough of them to have an opinion on it at all.
They're just weird.
But to be fair,
I also.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You also what?
I've also been pretty heavily exposed to the hardcore frantic collectors side of Funko Pops.
Oh yeah, that sounds awful.
And it's crazy. I mean, for people that are into that, whatever you want to be into, please don't let me stop you. Go enjoy it. But man, I would have never guessed the fervor for these things. It's nuts. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, they seem to be like modern day Beanie Babies. I can't imagine that they'll be valuable anytime in the future.
No.
I can't either. And I know that they sell like the one that I got as a gift. My friend bought it for me, and it was in a protective cube, like a plastic cube inside the package. And I was like, am I supposed to like keep it in the package or something? Like, I'd never received one. So I don't know the etiquette here. I don't want to open this thing. And then you'd be like, oh my God. And he was like, no, I bought it from a store that sells, them, not just the new ones like Target and Walmart, but like they're into Funkos as collectibles, and they all come pre-sealed in these plastic cubes.
That's bizarre.
Which I can't say much. I put my Beanie Babies in plastic cubes.
That's fair.
There's a lady at my office who has almost all of the Funkos based on the TV show The Office on her desk.
Yeah, mine is from The Office. It's the one where Michael Scott puts on the bandana and does the rap music video. It's him. It's that version.
Nice. I've seen like six episodes of that show.
I guess I've never worked a desk job. And if I did work a desk job, maybe I'd want to have a bunch of little non-posable figures that look vaguely like the thing that I like on my desk. I like that.
I have one of your only touch of color to look at for 8 hours a day.
Right.
Yeah, I could see it.
I've got a Mega Man Pixel Pal on my desk.
Oh, cute.
He lights up. Little 8-bit Mega Man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to be fair, Talking Wizards isn't, all bad. You guys did. Right. You were talking about how you play games with your kids or That's your good. Kid.
I do play games with my kid, yeah.
And the way that you play with her, you were talking about how you just kind of like line out in little easy choices for her to make, so she can play a complicated game if she just knows, no, pick one of these 3 things or whatnot.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, really, all board games are just, you're going to make a series of decisions. The rules are just exactly what rules by which do I manipulate these pieces. So in a lot of board games, it's just like, okay, well, you want to attack so-and-so here, or do you want to go over here and get more guys? And she can easily make that decision. Like, that doesn't,
Right.
Yeah, and that inspired me to start playing, like, more complicated games with my kids. Like, they're 8 and 10. Yeah. And so I was like, hey, let's play Munchkin. I can do this. I can just DM the shit out of it, basically. And we were playing, and basically we just went through a few rounds of it. We didn't even get into, like, let's get to level 10 and try and screw each other over constantly, phase of the game. But yeah, it was great. And I thought, I would also mention that, if I was going to yell at you, I will also give you praise. While we were playing, Kristen pulled a pit bull, which her dog is a pit bull. And so I was like, all right, you got to fight it. She goes, I don't want to.
Fine.
She's, can I not fight it? I was like, well, you can run away. She goes, well, I don't want to run away. And I was like, oh, okay, let's see. I tell you what, if you roll like a 4 on this die, you can keep it as a friend and it can be your pet. And she did, and it was.
Nice.
It was great.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot of it is, and I've said it before. Like kids are really good with games. They really are. Like they play games. They'll play games way ahead of their like skill level in other areas.
Right.
If you present it to them in an easy enough framework, it's been really wild.
And if you forget some of the rules, they will make up their own rules and make it a more interesting game.
Oh yeah. I play one of my daughter's favorite games to play is Root, which is it's a war game. It's a full on like you have armies moving around a map, asymmetrical tabletop war game, but every faction is cute woodland animals.
I think I've seen that.
Nice.
And so she plays that with me, and that's her favorite game in the world.
Nice.
Obviously, the downside is that I have to know the rules in and out so that I can present her what she needs to be doing all the time.
Right.
Thankfully, I do. And she plays the crap out of that.
Nice.
And then the other day, she wanted to play Minecraft, and she couldn't like even fathom what a first-person video game is, and was just like completely. I felt so bad. I kept explaining it. She was like, I don't. Like she'd just stare at the screen like I don't know what's.
All right.
And I'm like, it's you. You're looking through like your character's eyes. You see, it's like first person. She's like, I know. And then I'd put it to third person, and she would immediately pan the camera and look directly straight up, so all she saw was her feet, and be like, I'm confused. I don't. What's happening? Oh. And I'd be like, well, quit just holding the stick directly up, because you see it moves your camera around. She's like, I thought it was a person. Am I a camera? And I'm like, I don't know. Okay, let's go play board games. I quit.
She'll get it eventually, man.
Yeah.
I just don't think like she just has no interest in video games, which is fine. Like I don't push for her to, and great. I don't have to have my kid, flinging my video games all over the room. That's nice.
Less competition.
But yeah, she just there's not a lot of interest in video games. She mostly likes singing as loudly as she physically can, which obviously I'm extremely proud of her for.
Naturally.
Yeah.
I'm a very proud parent, and I love hearing her sing.
You're going to get some of those Disney karaoke albums
for hours.
Oh, man.
She has a karaoke machine, and I have earplugs, so it works out.
Nice.
What were you saying, Guy?
No, I was going to say, there's an episode of DuckTales where, you just reminded me of this, where like the nephew's mom, Huey, Dewey, and Louie's mom is a pilot, and she was teaching one of her nephews how to pilot, and then they went to like Cape Suzette where like Tailspin is, and he met Kit Cloud Kicker, and he's like, oh my god, this is my dream, this is who I want to be now, and like she started to yell at him, and then she was support your kids.
I'm sorry, Huey, Dewey, and Louie have parents?
Yeah, they've got a mom.
Okay, hold on. I got this one. I think I got this one. When a mommy duck and a daddy duck love each other very much.
No, I'm sorry.
They'll make baby ducks.
I'm sorry. For 80 years, they only had multiple uncles for some reason. They never addressed the parents.
Well, they do in the new DuckTales. They have a mom who is Donald's sister, and the reason that Donald had custody is because she was stuck on the moon and nobody knew it.
Of course, that's normal.
And they do go up to the moon, and there's DuckTales songs on the moon. I think you talked about that. Yeah,
we talked about that.
That was great.
Wait.
Okay.
Did they retrieve her from the moon?
No, just leave her.
Well, spoilers, but sure. She made it down at the end of the season.
Nice.
Okay, so then they don't have to live with Scrooge anymore. They can go back to their parents.
Yeah, she lives in Scrooge's house, and then
well, that's bullshit.
Scrooge is also is Donald and their mom. He's their uncle, so that is how he's Uncle Scrooge to the nephews, is because he's like uncle like two generations.
Great uncle, yeah.
Yeah.
I really wish that the next season after that would just pivot to them living in the suburbs with their mom, having totally normal duck lives. And just being like, I sure wish we still lived with Uncle Scrooge. Like, yeah, kind of sucks that mom came back from the moon, huh?
You remember the Beastie Boys? Yeah, or no, the Beagle Boys. That's what
the Beagle Boys.
Dude, the other now day, I'm imagining Uncle Scrooge going up against the Beastie Boys. Perfect.
And you will show them some respect.
Oh my god! The other day, my kid goes, "Hey, if Wally, my dog, if Wally was a duck, was a McDuck, what do you think his name would be?" And I went, "Dude, if he lived in Duckburg, he would be a Beagle Boy. He's a beagle." And he goes, "Oh, I guess so. Okay, never mind."
My kids, she's 5, so. Her entire world has recently been consumed by me explaining what a dingleberry is.
Oh, no.
And that has redefined comedy for her.
Naturally.
The definition of a dingleberry has rocked her world.
Yeah.
It is the funniest and most eternally evergreen funny word that will ever exist.
I mean,
if anything needs to be funny, all she needs to do is add a dingleberry.
That's true.
I'll go, hey, do you want a bowl of cereal? And she'll go, no, but I'll take a bowl of dingleberries, and then laugh hysterically.
That's pretty funny.
That's where we currently are. And I remember being in the car and the word dingleberry came up. I think I called someone in traffic a dingleberry.
That was your own mistake.
She was like, what is that? And I explained it to her, and she's like, oh my God, really? I was like, yeah. And then the rest of the car ride, it was just
Did you realize the mistake you were making, like, as you were explaining it?
Well, I figured it'd be funny for a couple minutes.
Oh, no.
You know, and then move on. Then it'd be over.
Nope.
Oh,
You know,
no.
it's been it's been a ride. It's been about 3 months we've been in the dingleberry phase.
That's good.
Nice.
I'm hoping it ends by the time kindergarten starts.
No.
But we don't know. We just have no way to know that information.
All right, I got
I
one
assure
final
you,
note.
dingleberries remain funny at least until 4th grade.
All right, one final note.
Monstar was the villain in Silverhawks. You got
Monstar?
Yeah, you guys were talking about something star in the show.
Weren't the Monstars the name of the bad guys in Space Jam?
They were.
They are, yeah.
There you go. Maybe that's why you have that.
But also Silverhawks.
But also,
yeah, also
Silverhawks.
Silverhawks, yeah.
I was too young for Silverhawks.
That's true. You
And
definitely
whenever it went off the air, everyone collectively stopped giving a shit about Silverhawks.
Also
I don't
unlike so many other 80s properties that just kept going for forever.
During the show, you were talking about something that sounded like some sort of
Romstar.
80s. Romstar. That's what it was.
Romstar.
Oh, yeah,
Sounds like an
Romstar.
80s villain.
That's true.
Anyway. All right, well, thanks for being on, guy. Thanks for producing the show, and we're over on time, so we'll see you next time.
We're contractually obligated to be under 2 hours.
Yeah, we have a specific time limit. If we go over it, there's a whole ordeal with breach of contract,
You
etc.
gotta get a permit.
All right, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye.